Hi, I'm in Denial and today we're going to be taking a very serious look at the best horses in Red Dead Online. Now I must stress that this is a very serious video, where we will be seriously taking into account every aspect of what makes up the perfect horse. Seriously. Now if you think you can handle the seriousness of this video, I shall proceed. Now to kick things off, we'll start with the weakest of the bunch, the common horse. When it comes to colours, the world is your oyster, so long as your oyster pertains to a particular shade of shit. Specifically, from the 50 Shades of Shit colour swatch. Starting with perfectly healthy, great diet, plenty of fibre chocolate brown, to maybe I should go to the doctor. My anus is bleeding from giving birth to what felt like an unripe pineapple, reddish brown, with white patches. Here is a fine specimen of what we'll call great gut health brown, with a slight sheen. He'll do 0 to 55 miles per hour in around a minute, which is pretty okay I suppose, but you can see why the car became the new horse. You've got to move with the times or the times will leave you behind. That made no sense, but it sounded pretty profound. I'm in the middle of reviewing this nag, when Hillbilly Dickless turns up to cut your review short. Don't worry friend, I won't let him ruin this top quality content, and after I explain that I'm trying to make a seriously helpful guide, he understands and lets me finish reviewing the horse. My fists were sore from all of the talking, so I go and pet a good boy. Back to the horse, and as you can see, some pretty impressive stats. Now a review wouldn't be complete if I didn't show you all of the ins and outs of the horse. So here's its cock and balls. I then take a hoof to the mouth which hurt. The things I do for all none of you watching. Now to truly understand the horse, you must become the horse. So I live in a stable now, on to the next horse when I come across a card on some crates. How odd. Next up is the walks/runs on two legs mare who most definitely gave consent. They can be a little skittish, so a calm and quiet approach is essential. What a beautiful shot, am I right? Anyway, the walk/runs on two legs mare who most definitely gave consent is a very free-spirited horse, and they have a very high-pitched neigh, which to be honest, after a while, gets a little annoying. If only we could understand each other. They are renowned escape artists, and so a keen eye and much training is required if this is the horse for you. I've personally had the most success with positive reinforcement training, where we avoid any kind of physical harm to the animal and reward them for the positive things they do. But you'll find what works for you in your own time. Anyway, I let the walk/runs on two legs mare who definitely gave consent run free, as like I said, they are a free-spirited animal who love nothing more than their own freedom. Next up is the Chugga Stallion, a huge beast of a horse who has the capacity for many men. Like your mum. I mean, so they make for great cargo horses. They are the largest horse in the game and can be found roaming very near to, if not on the train tracks of the Great Wild West. You will need to dispatch of the current rider who you'll find near the head of this majestic stallion. With the rider dealt with, it's time for you to take the reins. Now you may notice that the Chugga Stallion seems to spew a lot of smoke. And that is due to the great job the Red Dead developers put into the historical accuracy of this game. Tobacco was rife back in the 1890s, and everyone and their mother and their horse smoked. The Chugga was no different. In fact, the Chugga Stallion was one of the biggest consumers of tobacco back in the day, and eventually it was this that led to the big lad's decline. If only vapes had been invented sooner, maybe they'd still be roaming the plains today. But anyway, possibly the most robust horse in the game, this mighty steed can take a lot of punishment. For instance, I shot the big boy square in the nose. Didn't even flinch. I then shot him in the eye. Didn't even blink. I think that is testament enough for how tough this horse is. As is my methodology, I did try to find the stallion's baby factory, but to my surprise, I couldn't find anything, so this big fella may have some kind of cock holster. I may have to email the devs at Red Dead for confirmation on this, and unlike the other horses on this list, the Chugga Chugga is the only one to possess an incendiary self-defense system, which I think the devs may have added to spice things up. Seems a bit unbelievable to me though. So if strength and durability is your bag, then the Chugga Chugga Stallion is the horse for you. Now we have the short and dumpy Daddy Don't Hump Me, so called for its short stature and the opportunity for me to make a cheap joke. The short and dumpy Daddy Don't Hump Me is a pretty chill horse. It spends most of its time in and around the swamplands of Red Dead Online. This is because its primary diet consists of bulrushes, which can be found in abundance in the swamplands. We interrupt this very serious guide to bring you this important news. And back to the guide. Though horses are herbivores, the short and dumpy Daddy Don't Hump Me is not afraid to defend itself, and will gladly take on a mouthful of meat like your mum. I mean your manly friends do at hot dog eating competitions. Now's the time to test the strength of this horse with a firm kick. It seems that they are pretty durable and also highly aggressive. Next up, the bucking bronco. Get it, because a male deer is a buck, but that's irrelevant because that's not a deer, it's a horse, because this is a horse guide. As you can see, this is one of the smaller horses in the game, and need a bit of calming down before you attempt to mount them. And I don't know about you, but I find the best way to calm down myself is by being hunted down, having a rope thrown around my neck, being recorded for a questionable horse guide, and then just having to stand there while some creep tightens the rope. So I do the same for the bucking bronco, and it works a treat until it doesn't. And then it doesn't. And then it doesn't again. A real quick one next, the dirty gobbler. The dirty gobbler has a very distinct neigh, similar to that of an animal whose name escapes me. Again, a little skittish, so you'll need to be light on your feet to catch this one. Luckily for me, this one was a little tired and just stopped of its own accord so I could review him further. They rest in a very peculiar position, but hey, you do you. Now's time for the pussy mustang. A very wild horse that is very difficult to tame, and I'd even suggest not even attempting to tame the pussy mustang. They are very hostile, but with many years of experience, I'm able to tame this one with a humane, non-lethal method that involves shooting them several times with a gun. You see, I remain unharmed, and I showed huge compassion as I took its life. Humane and non-lethal. I then defile the corpse with my knife. Time for the beauty and the teats. She's a big old gal and has a traditional four-nippled udder, as most horses did back in the 1890s. As a cargo horse, the huge udder was used to transport copious amounts of moonshine that could easily be dispensed with the squeeze of a teat. Hence the phrase that doesn't exist but should, "I'll take a teat squeeze of moonshine, my good fellow. What am I doing with my life?" Some of them came with horns, but as all of the beauty and the teats were EA horses back then, this was a microtransaction that not all cowboys could afford. It meant that they were severely disadvantaged, but EA didn't give a shit. Anyway, on to durability. Now as you can see, the beauty and the teats can take a good right hook, but does run off, so we'll knock a few points off there. After beating some meat for a little while, one of the other Beauty and the Teats charges me and tramples me to death, which only solidifies the whole pay to win issue. Horse with horns versus me with no horns equals me losing every time. EA, sort this out. Another quick one here, we've got Billy the Kid. A pretty quiet horse with horns as standard, relatively calm, and they even have beards, which means they probably have a huge dick. And I'm not just saying that because I have a beard. But I do. Winky face. They're not overly tough though, and it only takes a little tap to bring them to the ground. Oh well. Next up is the hairy trotter. A hideous creature with an aggressive temperament and what seems to be some kind of repetitive personality disorder. Disgusting. You are best to approach this horse calmly and gently as not to startle them. However, they are a very quick to anger animal and I was forced to carry out my durability test a little sooner than I had planned. They are not overly durable, but this can vary from horse to horse, so try them out. As a horse whisperer, I spent a little time with the horse's corpse to help it on its way to its next life. I also took its hat. I then spot another hairy trotter, so I observe this one too. It too is very hostile, though a little indecisive.
Gonna need you to leave now. So, we good? This is on you!
This one has a little bit of a fight in it, but not much. I'm on my way to the next horse when I prove why the common horse is just pathetic. And I'm forced to apologise, which makes me feel like I can't get an erection. And finally, the last horse on our list is the miming puss puss. The miming puss puss was originally bred to be part of a travelling circus. Not really, this is a cat. It's not a horse. What are you, stupid or something? But anyway, look at this cat. You can look at the puss puss, but you can't touch the puss puss. Or so I'm told at my weekly meetings, which help me to become a better human. That's it for now, but if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe.